Hi, and welcome back to Mingus on Tech. I'm Ken Mingus, Executive Editor at Computer World. I'm here with Windows expert Preston Gralla. We're going to talk about Fall Creators Update. It's that time of year. Great. Thanks, Preston, for being here. Windows 10 Fall Creators Update. I hate that name, by the way. I know it's fall, and I know it's an update.
No creators, though.
No creators. I don't get the creators thing, so I always
2 out of 3 ain't
I always
bad.
stumble over that. But FCU, obviously, it's out now. Microsoft is gradually rolling it out to Windows 10 users, and I just wanted to talk to you for a few minutes about some of the things that maybe some good things, some bad things, and some of the features in the update that people may not know about. So do we want to do good news first or bad? Let's go good news first, I guess.
I think good news is good.
Good news is always good. All right. So all right, Windows 10, I've updated my machine to Windows 10 Fall Creators Update. A couple of things maybe that I may not know about that are going to be good for me.
One thing you won't see a lot of, but is really good, which is security. They've built a lot of security under the hood, which obviously is necessary considering all the ransomware and malware attacks on there. There's something called Windows Defender Exploit Guard that they've taken a lot of features from Enterprise, built it right into Windows itself. A lot of good things you won't see, but a lot less exploits are going to be able to get through you, so that's good.
Okay.
Another good thing they've done is there is an ancient networking protocol called SMB1, which is the most insecure protocol in the world. Windows knows it. Everybody knows it. Microsoft knows it. Yeah. That's why WannaCry spread so well. It's why Petya spread so well. So in the update, SMB1 is gone.
They finally got rid of it.
Sort of.
Oh, okay.
What happens is...
But wait, there's more.
Yes. If you actually do the update yourself, SMB is going to stay in there. It hasn't been removed. But all new PCs, SMB1 is removed. Now you say big deal. But in fact, it is a big deal because that'll make it less likely that SMB1 attacks will spread because there'll be fewer of them out there.
You're gradually quarantining the whole Windows 10 ecosystem, basically, with the new systems.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And of course, IT is going to say, well, if the new PCs don't have SMB1, we really better finally cut it off.
Okay.
So that's great. There's also something called controlled folders access.
All right.
And this is something individuals can turn on and turn off. What that allows you to do is protect folders on your PC, like your documents and all those others, so that no applications can access it except ones that are legitimate ones, like Office and things like that. So ransomware comes onto your PC. It tries to encrypt your hard disk.
Yep.
It can't do it to the folders you want.
So you can do this folder by folder?
Yeah, you could do either documents and everything underneath it and add ones, or you could even go through and say this folder, not that folder, this folder, not that folder.
And do you specify which applications have access to the documents or the files that you have in each of those protected folders?
Yeah, it's a whitelist, so it comes with an existing whitelist.
Okay.
And only things on the whitelist get through. You can add to the whitelist. Obviously, a blacklist that you could add wouldn't make sense because you're not going to know what's attacking you. That's the whole point.
Right. Okay. So you're saying these are okay. These apps are okay. These are the folders, files, and documents to protect, and then sit back and let Windows protect you.
That's it.
Theoretically.
Theoretically. Now, of course, we know there's always a cat and mouse game, so maybe at some point somebody is able to attack it, then Microsoft resolves it. But the point is, it's a really good thing to finally have.
You know, it's interesting, too. I was just thinking about to back up a point, the SMB1 thing. I wonder if, in some ways, that's a bit of a nudge from Microsoft to get companies to upgrade their computers to the new and better protected Windows 10 machines that'll be on the market.
You know, that's an interesting
nudge,
point.
wink, wink.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but that wouldn't surprise me at all.
I mean, if you're thinking enterprises, and if they're, if maybe they haven't upgraded for whatever reason, that might be one little extra incentive.
Right. Now, of course, enterprises still have ways to turn off SMB1 themselves.
Right.
So there is a way for them to do that enterprise-wide. But you're right. I think this could be an additional nudge.
Okay. So serious security updates and upgrades in there that you may not notice, although it sounds like the the folder protection thing is something that would people be able to find that fairly easily? The ability to protect those folders and files, or
yeah, go down into settings and security and control their folder access. You'll see it there.
It's right there.
Yeah, it's not turned on by default.
Okay,
but you can turn it on yourself. It's really pretty easy to do.
Okay, so that's one thumb up. All right. Our next thumb up would be
OneDrive.
Dun, dun, dun.
OneDrive has a really nice addition to it now.
Okay.
OneDrive is Microsoft's cloud storage, and it's a really nice service. It's free. It works really well. Integrates great with Windows, with Office.
Is there a limit on the amount of storage you get?
Yeah, I don't remember what it is. You could pay to get more than the initial if you want.
Okay.
But also, if you do a subscription to Office, which is the best way to get Office,
Yep.
you automatically get a lot more too.
Okay.
So it's pretty good. It gives you a lot. What they've done, though, is one problem with OneDrive, of course, is that if you have a lot of PCs, you have a desktop, you have a laptop, you want to get a cheap laptop, one of the problems there is that that laptop may not have a big enough hard disk to hold everything.
Right.
So what you could do now in OneDrive is you can basically say, these are the only folders I want stored on this PC, but you still see your entire OneDrive. So now you're out. You're out of your office. You're out of your home. And you go to a coffee shop and you want to work. You start working, and there are some files that you don't have, but you could see them.
Is it sort of seamless, basically? You don't really need to know that one's in the cloud on OneDrive and one is actually on your hard disk?
You're shown so that you know.
Okay.
But it's still, if you go into File Explorer, your entire OneDrive is listed there. If you go into Office and want to open a file, your entire OneDrive is there. But you'll see a little icon. One icon says it's local. One icon says it's in the cloud.
Yep.
But then you handle it like you normally would. Even if it's in the cloud, just open it in Word,
Opens
for
and
example.
saves work the same as they always would?
And then it's on your PC at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other nice thing about this is it also allows you to go through folders and individual files. And if you have them on your PC, say, keep it in the cloud, get rid of it on my PC. So you can really free up a lot of hard disk. I mean, I tried it. I freed up hundreds of megabytes of hard disk space.
And no glitches, no problems. It worked as expected?
Absolutely. It worked really like a charm. The only issue, of course, is if you're outside internet access,
right,
you're not going to be able to do that. So what you should do is if you know you're going to be away from the internet, you could just download those files ahead of time.
And then it's on your disk and you can use it whether you've got internet access or not.
Exactly.
All right, so 2 thumbs up. One for storage.
Right.
One for, yes, cloud storage, I guess you'd say, and one for security.
Right.
So some bad news, perhaps.
Yes.
As with every update, with every operating system, it's a mix. So what's going not so well? What's not good about Windows 10?
Well, let's start off with the perennial Edge, the browser.
Do people still use that?
I've heard people do. I've never met anybody, but I've heard that people
seems
still
to be
do.
losing steam very quickly to Google to Google Chrome. But anyway.
With good reason, and Microsoft doesn't seem to know what to do about it.
Yeah.
So I mean, in this update, they did a few things that are okay. For example, you could now manage your favorites a little bit better, so you could actually use folders, something that every other browser has had forever, but at least it does it now. You could pin websites to your taskbar and open to them, something that Internet Explorer had and Edge didn't have, that Chrome and every other browser has. And if you're using PDFs, you can mark them up, and if you're using an ebook, you can mark it up.
Okay.
Not great, right?
Yeah.
So why is this one of the worst features? Because they didn't address the big issue, which is extensions.
Add-ons. Where are they?
They're not there. 70.
Again, I mean, this has been a perennial issue. What's going on? Do we know?
Well, Microsoft thinks it could buy its way. It's paying people to write extensions, but it's not worth it because so few people use Edge.
Right.
And it's, again, the chicken and egg issue.
Yeah. It's the downward spiral. If you've got fewer people, fewer developers, fewer add-ons, and it just sort of continues to go down the tubes.
But if I were Microsoft, I'd be putting money and time into that rather than marking up PDFs and marking up ebooks and stuff like that. So, I mean, I don't see any hope for it. Because
you think Edge will eventually just sort of be there as kind of a shell browser because obviously Microsoft feels like it should have something there,
right?
But it really doesn't sound like they're devoting a lot of development time to really improving it.
And the odd thing is that if you look at market share of Edge, it's been dropping. It's the default browser, and yet it continues to drop, which is obviously
surprising given the number of Windows machines that are out there. I know this is once Microsoft decreed that people would move. You will move to Edge whether you want to or not.
Right.
And people said, no, we'll just go to Chrome. And more or less, and I guess maybe there's a smattering of people that are using Firefox, but
Right.
I would think most of it's going
It's
to
Chrome. It's Chrome.
All right, so Edge is kind of 2 thumbs down because they didn't do enough with it, and they're just watching it go away.
That's absolutely right.
All right, and our final, our other 2 thumbs down is for what?
Well, the big thing is working with iOS and Android.
Yep.
Microsoft finally is killing Windows Phone. Finally.
Or
I
it's just dying of its own accord.
Right, yeah.
But anyway, it's dying. It's
Yeah.
going. Yeah.
Well, and Microsoft has said no new features. That's
Right.
it. Fixing bugs, but essentially it's dead.
Yeah.
And Microsoft has known this for a while, and so they know they have to tie Windows 10 to some mobile operating system. So they said, let's target iOS and Android.
Right, which
for
makes
good
sense,
reason.
yeah.
Right. So initially what they were going to do in Windows 10, this update, is you were going to be able to, let's say you're working on a Word file on your iOS or Android device.
Yep.
When you go to your PC, that file would be open ready for you, and you could just seamlessly work between the two.
Right.
Didn't make it in.
This sounds very much like Apple's continuity feature.
Yes.
Continuity and handoff between
Yes.
devices.
That's
Okay.
exactly right.
Okay.
The exact same idea.
Yeah.
The problem is that Microsoft couldn't figure out how to do it. So it's not in there.
It's not in there at all, or it just doesn't work.
Well, it's mainly not in there. There's
Okay.
a smaller feature
Okay.
that allows you to send a URL to your PC.
Yeah.
So if you're browsing
Yeah.
and you say, I want to open this in my PC, when I'm back on my PC, tap it,
Yeah.
sends the URL to your PC, and theoretically you could open it in your PC.
Okay.
In practice, it's not very good. Number one problem is that I couldn't always get it to work. Let me just.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. I was just, I was just thinking because I mean, not only is that not really like continuity or handoff where you can do documents and things like that. I mean, this is very minimal. Being able to send a URL to your
Right.
desktop. Wow,
I know.
2010 called and wants its technology back.
Exactly, and it doesn't always work.
And it doesn't even always.
And
Okay.
sometimes it works. And then we just talked about Edge. So here's even maybe the biggest issue.
Yeah.
When you open it, guess what it opens in?
Edge.
Even if your default is Chrome.
Okay. Really?
Yes.
Wait, so you've designated Chrome as your default on your desktop
Yes.
in Windows 10.
Yes.
You are successfully able to get a URL from your iOS or Android device to your desktop
Yep.
in Windows 10,
Mhm.
and yet it's going to open it up in Edge anyway.
There you go.
No way to change that?
No. This may be Microsoft's answer to how to get Edge more popular, but obviously that's
I don't
not
think
going to happen.
force-feeding people is the way to do it.
Tell Microsoft that.
Yeah,
We've
well.
seen it in the past, but yeah, I would assume that in future versions, this has to get fixed.
Yeah.
Because with no Windows Phone, the world is
You've got to
mobile.
have the desktop connected to mobile devices,
Yes.
whether it's your mobile device, when it obviously won't be now,
Right.
or iOS or Android.
That's right.
Did they promise to have this kind of feature and then they just backed away from it as we got closer to the final release? Or
Yes, and now Microsoft never actually promises
Okay.
anything, but they talk about it and say it will probably be there.
okay.
And then as it got closer, they couldn't do it.
You
I
know,
don't know why.
It's interesting, and this is sort of related. It's not really a thumbs down or a thumbs up, but I believe I had seen a couple stories a week or two ago that Microsoft is pushing out versions of Edge for iOS and Android. Did I read that correctly? Does that ring any bells?
I can't remember now.
There was
but
some
that
sort
wouldn't
of beta.
surprise
There was
me.
some sort of beta
Oh, yeah,
program
yes.
that you could sign up. I don't know why you would want Edge. I don't intend to install Edge on my iOS device, but that it was, and it's interesting because again, it's like since this mobile to desktop thing is supposed to be there but really isn't, maybe this is some other way that Microsoft thinks it can push Edge adoption by getting it on Android devices, but
I'm
or iOS
sure that's
devices.
what they're trying to do, but I don't think many people are going to do it. Like you said, I mean, the browser is bad enough in Windows. Why are you going to use it on iOS or Android?
A bad experience made mobile. All right, so what's the feature that this handoff feature called in Windows 10?
There's no formal name
Oh,
for it.
of course
it's
not.
just sort of. And by the way, you also have to do is you have to install an add-in to Android or to iOS in order to use it. It's not built directly into there. So, like when you have iOS, you have the share, so what happens, you have to first install this little add-in. Then when you tap on share, that will show up as one of the options you can use. Then you hit that option and then you say send it.
That sounds kludgy.
It is.
It's a kludge.
It is.
All right. So in reverse order are two bads and two goods for Windows 10 now that it's rolling out. Be aware of this. This is going to be on your desktop soon if you're a Windows user. We've got the continuity type feature, which isn't named and doesn't really work, but might be able to allow you to send a URL to your desktop from your mobile device.
Right.
We've got Edge, which continues to lose steam to Google Chrome and doesn't have any add-ons, or the add-ons that it needs to grow. On the upside, we've got much better cloud storage. What's that feature called again?
OneDrive.
OneDrive. Oh, well, yeah, OneDrive.
It's built into OneDrive
now. It's built into OneDrive now, and bolstered security, which as we should say, is a big deal.
That's a
important.
big deal.
Yeah.
That is a big. I mean, that's probably, even though you won't notice it, and even though people won't be talking about it, I think that in fact is the biggest deal of all.
Okay. So if nothing else, that's a good reason to upgrade. Any other thoughts on Windows 10 before I let you go?
It's
last words of advice for people before they update.
It's worth the update. You're not going to see much new. It's not great. It happens twice a year. This is the wave of the future for Windows. Twice a year, minor updates, and then every once in a while, some big bang new version of it.
Okay, great. All right. So that's it, Preston. Thanks for stopping by to give me the update on Windows 10 Fall Creators Update. For now, that's a wrap.